Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a 12-team half PPR mock draft on Sleeper from the 3rd overall spot. Inside today's video, I'll be going in-depth into my thought process as I make every single pick inside of this draft, as well as I'm going to be discussing some of the picks going on around me. There are going to be some picks in this draft that I really do end up liking, as well as some picks that I don't end up liking so much, and I believe that I should be commentating and discussing all of those things. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help us out a ton. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, please do so at Notorious FNTSY. So without further ado, let's get into this 12-team half PPR mock draft from the 3rd overall spot. So the roster settings of today's 12-team half PPR mock draft are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end flex, kicker defense, and 6 bench spots. So without further ado, let's get into this draft. So the draft is going to begin with Jonathan Taylor, followed by Derrick Henry. If I'm being honest with you guys, I think every single draft should start with Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey in any order, going at the number 1 and the number 2 overall spot. Jonathan Taylor last year was the clear number 1 running back in fantasy. He had a great season. Last year, obviously, Christian McCaffrey was banged up. He was also banged up the year prior. I know some people are nervous about Christian McCaffrey. I talk about this in every mock draft video, but you can't play fantasy football scared. If Christian McCaffrey plays the whole entire season this year, Christian McCaffrey will easily be the number 1 running back in all of fantasy football. Christian McCaffrey has put up numbers with bad quarterbacks. Now he gets Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is Patrick Mahomes or something, but I think Baker Mayfield is a big step up for this offense. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to dominate this year, but there are going to be drafts like this one we're doing right now where people are scared of Christian McCaffrey because they're so worried about the injuries in the past. And I'm playing fantasy football to win my fucking league. I'm not playing to come in 6th place, right? I don't get anything for 6th place. I want to win the league. And in my opinion, Christian McCaffrey can win me my league by himself. As long as I don't draft horribly, Christian McCaffrey can carry me to a championship. So at the 103, it is a no-brainer to go with Christian McCaffrey. If he was not available, I would have went with Austin Eckler at that spot. I really think at the 102, Derrick Henry is a humongous reach. After we go with Christian McCaffrey comes Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, and Travis Kelce. The second round opens with DeAndre Swift, Stephon Diggs, Alvin Kamara, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, Josh Allen, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Deebo Samuel, and CeeDee Lamb. Taking a quarterback inside of the first 4 rounds to me really does hurt your team, so going with Josh Allen at the 205 is far from ideal. It's pretty interesting in the first round how we are really seeing people bump Justin Jefferson over Cooper Kupp in fantasy football drafts. Now, I understand it. I still have Cooper Kupp as my number 1 overall wide receiver, but on some of these fantasy football draft platforms, Jefferson is ranked as the number 1 wide receiver, which is pretty interesting. I think it is splitting hairs when you have an argument between the two, but it is something interesting to bring out. So the first round, pretty running back heavy. The second round, we're seeing a little bit more wide receiver action here, as well as a quarterback pick. Looking at the best players available at running back, we have Javonte Williams, Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner, Cam Akers, David Montgomery. Looking at wide receivers, we have Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, T.H. Higgins, Michael Pittman. Looking at tight end, only Kelce is gone, so we could get Mark Andrews or Kyle Pitts at this pick. In my opinion, after Leonard Fournette, the running backs start looking very scary. Now, I like James Conner. A lot of people think James Conner is complete and utter dog shit. I really do still believe that Leonard Fournette is the clear number 1 running back on this team. I understand that they brought in Rachaad White, and that does make some people panic slightly, but I think this year it is going to be all aboard the Leonard Fournette Express, and he's going to be the clear workhorse running back on this team. He also has some decent hands, so he's got some pass-catching ability as well. I love Leonard Fournette. Personally, I definitely prefer to get him in the 3rd round, but in the 2nd round, I think it's perfectly acceptable. He could easily be a top 5 running back at the end of the season on such a great Tampa Bay team. The only issue with Fournette is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just pass the ball so much, but if they are going to be as good as people project, they're going to run the ball late in the game because they are going to be bending teams over. After Leonard Fournette, we see Javonte Williams, followed by Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, and Ezekiel Elliott. So if you did want to go robust running back, we could go with James Conner here, but if I'm being honest with you, I want to look at the wide receiver position. I am starting to get higher and higher on Kyle Pitts as the days go on. Now, I was someone who was completely off of Kyle Pitts last year. I understand that he had the draft capital in the NFL draft, and he had the skill to legitimately be the best tight end in all of fantasy football, but my worry was that rookie tight ends, it typically takes some time to click, and he had a great season. He didn't finish where fantasy managers wanted him to finish, but he was pretty solid. He didn't score really any touchdowns. He scored 1 touchdown last year, and that was in London. So he hasn't even scored a touchdown in the United States in the NFL aside from in the Pro Bowl, which I don't really fucking count. So I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a huge year this season, and we have seen Marcus Mariota in the past force feed the ball to the tight end. If you remember that crazy year Delaney Walker had a couple of years ago, that was with Marcus Mariota at the helm in Tennessee. But here we are going to end up going with a wide receiver. I do like Mike Evans more than Tyreek Hill, but I do want to get Tyreek Hill on some of my teams. I think he is very easily a smash inside of the 3rd round. Tyreek Hill's speed, he's the fastest wide receiver, the fastest player in the NFL. I understand some people worry about how Tua can't throw the ball, blah, blah, blah. If you watch that fucking preseason game in week 3, you saw Tua throw a 50-yard fucking dart to Mr. Tyreek Hill. But Nick, he didn't hit him in stride. It doesn't fucking matter. It's still a 50-yard catch. Tyreek Hill is amazing. And I think even without Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill could finish as the #1 wide receiver in all fantasy football. Tyreek Hill is one of the few wide receivers in fantasy football that has legitimate game-breaking upside. And by game-breaking upside, I mean a wide receiver that could score 30-plus points in any given game because of the speed that he has. He could take a 6-yard slant to the crib. After Tyreek Hill, we see Mike Evans, followed by A.J. Brown, Cam Akers, Patty Mahomes, James Conner, Higgins, Kyle Pitts, Breece Hall, Deontay Johnson. The 4th opens with Justin Herbert, the pervert, Michael Pittman, Travis Etienne, George Kittle, DJ Moore, David Montgomery, Mike Williams, Lamar Jackson, and Terry F1, Scary McLaurin. So now we're in the 4th round, and the running backs are looking more and more grim. Now, J.K. Dobbins, a video of him yesterday came out of J.K. Dobbins doing this drill where he's basically smacking the fuck out of this mannequin type thing. If you actually played football, you'd probably know what the name of the drill is, but he's hitting this thing, and then he stops, he goes to walk away, and it looks like he's limping. Then J.K. Dobbins goes on Twitter and says, "I'm not limping." You watch the video, the motherfucker was limping. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, he was limping. And I'm worried about J.K. Dobbins to start the season. It might be Mike Davis season to start the year, or Kenyon Drake. I'm worried about Dobbins. I really am. And I don't like any of these running backs in this range. At tight end, we did see Kittle, Pitts, Kelsey, and Andrews all go. So while I do like Waller, and while I'm starting to believe that Waller will be good to go for week 1, I just don't want to draft him here. If he falls to the 5.3, though, I would be very happy to select him. So looking at wide receivers here, we got Cortland Sutton, Tyreek's teammate Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Jerry Jeudy, Allen Robinson. Since we already have Tyreek Hill, I don't want to go completely balls deep into the Miami Dolphins offense, so we're going to go ahead and go with Cortland Sutton here over Jalen Waddle. I think I definitely prefer Cortland Sutton heads up. Say we didn't have Tyreek Hill, it's just a 1v1 Sutton versus Waddle. I definitely would prefer Sutton, but I do like Waddle a ton this year as well. After Sutton, we see Darren Waller, which sucks because I would have picked him, Jerry Jeudy, Josh Jacobs, and Jalen Waddle. This running back by committee system is looking like what is going to be implored in Las Vegas with the Raiders. Now, could Josh Jacobs be clearly the best running back in that backfield? Definitely. Could they run Josh Jacobs into the dirt because this is the final year of his contract? Maybe, but I'm still kind of believing that there's going to be a running back by committee, so I'm staying away from Jacobs in the 5th round, even though I think he's a relatively talented player. After we went ahead and went with Cortland Sutton here, since Waller's gone, and since the running backs here are dead in my book, I'm just going to go with the best wide receiver available. Now, I do think that eventually in drafts, I should take DK Metcalf because the upside is so high. The issue is that Geno Smith fucking sucks, and that it's going to be hard to start DK Metcalf because he's going to go off in an easy game, and then the next week he's got an easy matchup. He's going to suck ass. He's going to suck ass like 4 games in a row, and then dominate some amazing defense, right? Go up against, say, I don't know if they play the Dolphins, but Xavier Howard, in my opinion, the best corner in the NFL. He's going to cook Xavier Howard. Geno Smith's going to look crazy, and then you go to start him the next week, and then he's inconsistent again. DK Metcalf has struggled with inconsistency in the past, and that's been with Russell Wilson as the quarterback. Now it's Geno Smith. I am off of DK Metcalf, even though I want to diversify some of my teams and take different guys. At the end of the day, if I just don't think he's going to be really good, I don't feel comfortable pulling the trigger on him in redraft and best ball like on drafters. I'm fine doing it because I don't have to worry about when I actually need to start him, but I'm setting the lineup here in a redraft league, so DK Metcalf is kind of out for me. I haven't taken a lot of Hollywood Brown this offseason. I am very set in the way of thinking that Hollywood Brown is going to start the season off on fucking fire. This guy is going to light the league up, and he is going to play amazing. And then D-Hop's going to return from that suspension, and then Hollywood Brown is going to decrease in value. But Hollywood Brown still does have a lot of upside when DeAndre Hopkins is back, and maybe DeAndre Hopkins isn't the same DeAndre Hopkins that we've seen in the past. I don't think that's the case, but that could be the case, so I'm fine with Hollywood Brown in the 5th round. After Hollywood Brown, we see DK Metcalf, J.K. Dobbins, Allen Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Elijah Mitchell, Kyler Murray, the Short King, Chris Godwin, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, A.J. Dillon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Dalton Schultz, Joe Shiesty, Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper, T.J. Hawkinson, Jalen Hurts, Adam Thielen in the 6.9. Very nice. I like is Mr. Gabe Davis. So we're back up on the board here. Still in a range of running back. That scares me. I did a 10-team PPR draft yesterday, a real draft for money with my friends from home, and Miles Sanders went in the 10th round. Now I understand, Nick, it's a 10-team league. This is a 12-team league. Even so, in the 6th round here, I wouldn't be comfortable taking Miles Sanders until like the 8th round, the 8.10. So Miles Sanders definitely off my board. I like Damien Harris, but this could be a real big committee with Ramondre Stevenson. So if that is the case, I'd rather just wait and then take Stevenson later. So in the 6th round, though, I'm starting to think that if you want Damien Pierce, you are going to have to pull the trigger extremely early. You are going to have to get ahead of things, because some people in your league, while you might believe that you are just this alpha fantasy football player, which you might be, I think I'm that too, but people know things. It's not like everyone in your league is a fucking dumbass. So there's going to be people that take Damien Pierce in like the 6th round. So if you want him, I definitely pull the trigger in the 7th round if you really wanted him. So looking at wide receivers, best available here, we got Mr. Corvette, Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Thomas, Darnell, here comes the Mooney, Rashad Master, Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Smith. Here we will go with Juju. Now in all reality, am I the biggest Juju fan? No. But when we start the draft off with 3 other wide receivers that I'm pretty confident in, I'm fine taking Juju, because there is a chance that Juju Smith-Schuster is the #1 wide receiver in Kansas City. If I was trying to be safe, wrap 2 condoms around my roster, I could go with Rashad Master Bateman. I know Rashad Bateman is the #1 receiver in Baltimore. I know Darnell Mooney is the clear #1 wide receiver in Chicago. So if you're trying to be safe, you can do that. But I was already confident with my other 3 wide receivers to where I am willing to take that risk. After Juju, we see Michael Thomas followed by Kareem Hunt, Russell Wilson, as well as Tampa Bay Tom Brady. The quarterbacks have been coming off the board fast and furious, and at this point, I don't want to reach on Dak or Rodgers. I'll just hope to the fantasy gods above that Trey Lance falls back to us. If not, I'm fine with Matthew Stafford or Derek Carr. So while I said I really think that you're going to have to reach, that's what we're going to do here on Damien Pierce. I have been the fucking conductor of the Damien Pierce choo-choo train all offseason. The hype train, I have been the conductor. I love Damien Pierce when he got drafted. I've loved Damien Pierce when he was going at like a 13th round pick, 14th round pick, and I've loved him as a 7th round pick. I do believe that you could be a running back on a dog shit offense, on an offense that you'd probably rather watch paint dry than play football, and Damien Pierce could still excel and be one of the best running backs in fantasy football. On 3rd down, you want to know who they're going to probably dump the ball off to if they dump it off to? Damien Pierce. He's going to be in on rushing downs. He's going to catch passes. Damien Pierce is a fucking steal. Now, everyone's hyping him up now, so I'm not the only one getting down on my knees and giving this guy the metaphorical dick suck here, but at the end of the day, I love Damien Pierce, and in the 7th round, I like taking him. If you want to be a little bit safer, you can go with Chase Edmonds, Devin Singletary, Rashad Penny. That's fine with me, but I'm going to get my boy, Damien Pierce. I love getting my guys in fantasy football drafts. The guys that I've been talking about, the guys that I'm excited about, I want them on my team. Shocker, right? The guys that I really like, I want on my fantasy team. So after Damien Pierce, we see Miles Sanders, Damien Harris, DeAndre Hopkins, Darnell, here comes the Mooney, Chase Edmonds, Tony Pollard, Rashad Master, Bateman, Cordero Patterson, Devontae Smith, Kenneth Walker, Dak Prescott, Brandon Ayuk, Drake London, Dallas Goedert, Rashad Penny, Hunter Renfrow, Elijah Moore, as well as Dawson Knox one time if you are with me. So we do have 2 running backs I'm pretty confident in, as well as Damien Pierce, who I like. So I don't think we have to continue to smash the running back position. But if we did go with another running back here, I would be perfectly fine waiting until my last pick here before we have to take the kicker and defense around 13 before I take another running back. And honestly, that might be acceptable here. Looking at wide receivers, Allen Lazard. Now, it did just come out. Maybe we can click on this and read it. Nope, of course we can't read that. Head coach Matt LaFleur basically told us not to draft Green Bay receivers in fantasy because this is going to be a wide receiver by committee. Basically, Rodgers is just going to throw the ball to whoever's open. It's not like Davante Adams where it's just funnel the fucking rock to Davante Adams. So, I still like Lazard. I still think Lazard can be the number 1 receiver on the team, but I want to buy the dip. I'm waiting for him to dip down in the draft before I go ahead and hop on him right here. This is where he was always going, so I don't think he's really worth it at this pick. So we're just going to go running back here. Some of these receivers are interesting. We still don't have a tight end or a quarterback, so we might want to jump on Trey Lance, but I think I can get him on the 9th round here. So I want to go with a running back. We would have 4 running backs and 4 wide receivers to start the draft off if we go this way, and that is exactly what we are going to do. While we do normally go with Devin Singletary, I do like Ramondre Stevenson a decent amount as well. I really do believe it is entirely possible that this team just rotates drives with these running backs, meaning drive 1, Damien Harris, you get the fucking ball. Drive 2, it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson also has better hands than Damien Harris, which bodes pretty well for Ramondre Stevenson staying on the field. After Stevenson, we see Robert Woods, Allen Lazard, Devin Singletary, and Chris Olave. I'm starting to like Robert Woods a little bit more. I think Treylon Burks is going to be one of those picks that I still like, but you draft him, and you got to watch this man sit on the pine of your roster for a couple of weeks before you can start him. It might take some time for him to grow into that role, but I still think Burks has a good chance to be the number 1 receiver on the team, despite a lot of negativity coming out of training camp early on. People were shitting on Treylon Burks, but then people started to move up and up on him, and then there kind of started to be this negativity towards him again. So, I'm fine taking him, but again, we're not really getting the dip here because this is where he's been going around the 8th, 9th round. So we're back up on the board here. I do like these wide receivers. The tight ends, I like Zach Ertz, but there is some worries that he might not end up playing week 1. And I don't want to draft 2 tight ends, so I probably just won't draft Zach Ertz. So I like some tight ends later. We're going to go with Trey Lance here. I think Aaron Rodgers is a perfectly acceptable pick as well. Some people will be nervous now because, oh, Nick, Jimmy Garoppolo signed back. I don't give a fuck about Jimmy Garoppolo. There's a reason why this team traded all those picks to get Trey Lance. There's a reason why they named Trey Lance the starter, and there's a reason why Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't fucking basically practicing all of training camp. He was on a field by himself. Okay? Trey Lance is the guy, and you better believe it, and you better book it. I've been talking about him all offseason, just like Damien Pierce. After Trey Lance, we see Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Discount Double Check, Zach Ertz, Pat Freiermuth, James Cook, Buffalo Bills defense, Melvin Gordon, Tampa Bay Bucks defense, Christian Kirk, Chase Claypool, Alexander Mattison, Treylon Burks, Tyler Lockett in my pocket, Sky with 2 Ys more, Garrett Wilson, MVS, Kadarius Toney, Matthew Stafford, and George Pickens. The hype for George Pickens has went to the moon, basically. I still think Claypool is better than him, but man, Pickens has been doing some crazy things in preseason. Like, he's like pushing guys off of him. He's made some crazy catches. I think Pickens does have a lot of skill, so not trying to be negative towards him, but I think some fantasy managers are going to be disappointed or because they drafted him in like the 10th round and maybe things don't end up working. Could be wrong, though. I still do like Pickens as a player. So we're back up on the board here. We got our tight end in Trey Lance, or our quarterback in Trey Lance. A bunch of the tight ends that I like have already gone, and I've taken Cole Kmet basically every video, so we're just going to wait a little bit longer. Before we go with the tight end here, we will go with a wide receiver because I'm pretty comfortable with these 4 running backs into just waiting till the 13th round to select our final running back. So we will go with a wide receiver right here. I've went with Julio Jones a decent amount, and since we have a pretty safe roster so far, I don't really want to just keep things safe, right? Keeping things safe would be drafting a guy like Tyler Boyd. I know what Tyler Boyd is. He has the upside if someone was to get hurt. If not, he's going to get you like 11 points a week, and that's okay. That's okay, but that doesn't make it move, right? It doesn't make me excited. So I'm not going to draft him. Michael Gallup might be gone for the first couple of weeks of the season, could be back by week 2. Doesn't really excite me right now. Jarvis Landry, we know what he is. But a player we don't know everything about is Jahan Dotson, rookie wide receiver of the Washington Commanders. He was selected inside of the 1st round this year. I like Jahan Dotson a decent amount. I understand I don't think Carson Wentz is very good, but Wentz isn't that bad to where he can't throw the ball at Dotson. I'm excited about Dotson this year, and the unknown around him makes him even more exciting on a team that I feel pretty confident in with my wide receivers. So after Dotson, we see Mike Licky, Amagasiki, Isaiah Spiller, James Robinson, and Michael Carter. Now, we kept waiting on Cole Kmet to go so we could take a different tight end, but we're just going to go with Cole Kmet. Again, I think he is one of my favorite late round tight ends this year. The team has Darnell Mooney, and that's it to throw the ball to. They have Equanimeous St. Brown, Velus Jones, a rookie wide receiver that is 7,000 years old. Cole Kmet hasn't been great in the NFL. I'll agree with that statement. He hasn't been great in the NFL, but he hasn't been given the opportunity that I believe he will be given this year. I've seen a lot of positive clips out of training camp, a lot of positivity towards Cole Kmet, so I'm very excited for what could be a breakout season in 2022 for Cole Kmet and Justin Fields at the exact same time. After Kmet, we see Derek Carr, the LA Rams defense, San Francisco 49ers, Naheem Hines, Darrell Henderson, Justin Tucker the Fucker, Julio Jones, Brian Robinson, Dallas Cowboys defense, Tyler, Boyd, Bucker, Carlson, Ravens, McPherson, Bass, Henry, Gainwell, and the LA Chargers defense. Before we break down our 12th round pick here and the rest of the picks before we skedaddle our way on out of here, I would like to give you guys a quick word from our friends and our sponsor for today's video. They've been on the screen the whole time. I'm pointing at it right now, all the way on top of the screen. Drafters Fantasy Sports. Are you guys looking for softer best ball contests? Then look no further than our new partnership with Drafters Fantasy Sports. For a limited time, make your first deposit of at least $20 and you will receive a free $20 ticket into the Drafters $1 million Best Ball Championship. To claim your free ticket, all you gotta do is click on the link in the video description down below or use promo code Stokastic, STOKASTIC. If you put in 2 entries into the $1 million contest, you will get our Best Ball Draft Kit for 100% free, courtesy of our partnership with Drafters Fantasy Sports. Please make sure you guys do check that out. I do a bunch of drafts on there all of the time, and best ball season's coming to an end, so make sure you get those entries in before the season starts. Guys, today, as you're watching this, is Thursday. There is now 7 days till the football season starts. 1 week away. 1 week away, baby. We've gotten so close. It seemed like it was so far away, but now it is right in front of us. I can almost feel it. I'm so excited. So we got Kmet, and I'm confident with Kmet, so we don't need another quarterback. We do not need another tight end because I'm comfortable with Lance. I'm comfortable with Kmet. When they're on bye, you know what you do? You just cut someone, and then you add a new quarterback, a new tight end. It's that simple. So I'm pretty comfortable with the running backs. Like I said, I'm going to take my last one with the final pick here before we take our kicker and defense. So we're going to go wide receiver here. And again, we're going to start taking some more risks. We kept it pretty decent early on, so my risky spot here, taking a shot from 3, we're going to go on Romeo Doubs. Now, I know I just talked about the fact that maybe, just maybe, the Green Bay Packers are going to go with a wide receiver by committee approach. According to head coach Matt LaFleur, they're just going to throw the ball to everyone. That could be the case, but there's been so many positive reports towards Romeo Doubs all off-season long, and I'm really starting to feel comfortable drafting him here inside the 12th round. Sure, it is risky, but again, you don't win your league playing fucking scared, playing safe. We're drafting Romeo Doubs, and he could end up being the number 1 receiver on this team. He might be the 5th wide receiver, but guess what? That's why we have the waiver wire, because we could just cut his ass, if things don't work out. So I'm excited to see what Doubs does in week number 1. After Doubs, we see Matt Gay, followed by Michael Gallup, the Colts defense, and Rachaad White, a running back we talked a little bit about earlier when we were talking about Fournette. I really think White stands no chance in playing this year as long as Fournette is able to stay healthy. Knock on wood, we do not root for injury. So here we are going to go running backs for a 5 running back, 6 wide receiver build here. And then we're just going to go for the best running back available here. I'm going to go with the upside of Raheem Mostert, potentially taking away some touches from Chase Edmonds. And even if he doesn't, Raheem Mostert has some crazy big play potential in the game. If he can stay healthy, then Raheem Mostert could be dangerous for fantasy football. After Mostert, we see Albert O, Jarvis Landry, Tyler Algier, Kirk Cousins, Rondale Moore, Devontae Parker, Isaiah Pacheco, the Saints defense, Tua Tagovailoa, Khalil Herbert, Jamal Williams, Zamir White, Russell Gage, David Njoku, Patriots, Prater, McManus, as well as Rodrigo. You sunk my Blankenship. So here we're going kicker and defense. I made a defense video for today. It's coming out soon. Make sure you watch it later. If you're watching this tonight, the day it came out, then it's already out. You're watching this a couple days after this video came out. The video's already out. I talk about which defenses I want to be drafting, the defenses I want to pick up off the waiver wire. If I already drafted, I love the Broncos. Their week 1 matchup, cupcake up against the Seattle Seahawks. So we're going to go with the Broncos. After that, we see J.D. McKissick, my old bitch lame, but my young ho coup, Christian Watson, and the Packers defense. And then here, we're just going to go with the top kicker available. And here, we'll go with my main man, Willie Lutz, Sir William Lutz the third. After Will Lutz, he's not actually the third. It's just a nickname I gave him like 3 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago, something like that. It's just his nickname for a while. After Lutz, we see Mock Ingram, Jameson Williams, DJ Chark, Baby Chark, Isaiah McKenzie, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Irv Smith, Tyler Higbee, and Nick Folk to close out the draft as Mr. Irrelevant. So we're going to go ahead and recap our team. We don't actually have to do the electric slide this time. Oh, the electric slide this way like we normally have to move ourselves because we're at the 3 pick, and our team is comprised of Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, Tyreek Hill, Cortland Sutton, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Damien Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, Trey Lance, Jahan Dotson, Cole Kmet, Romeo Doubs, Raheem Mostert, Denver Broncos defense, and Willie Lutz. Nick, if you could have done anything different in this draft, I'm just interviewing myself here. Nick, if you could have done anything different in this draft, what would you have done? Honestly, I probably would have drafted a different wide receiver instead of Juju Smith-Schuster because I don't like Juju Smith-Schuster that much this year, but I get the upside case, and that's why I took him. I think he's a risk, but he could pay off huge at the end of the season if he does become the #1 wide receiver on the Patrick Mahomes-led Kansas City Chiefs. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button down below. It help us out a ton. Please make sure you check out Drafters Fantasy Sports promo code Stokastic. Deposit $20, get that free $20 ticket for your chance to win $250,000. I love you guys all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy.